Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lost in the Real. My name is Shawn.
And my name is Morgan.
And today we are talking about The Platform 2, which is a sequel to a Netflix film that came out in 2020, right in the heart of the pandemic. And that film actually ended up on both of our top 10 films list of that year. So obviously, we both loved it.
We did, but does this film need a sequel? That is the question.
So let's talk about it.
So, Shawn, I know this was like one of our top favorite movies of 2020, but what did you think of the sequel?
The exhale, it says a lot. No, I don't want to discredit the movie at all because there are a lot of really good things about The Platform 2, but I do think that this film it has so much that it wants to say and so much that it wants to add on top of the original's ideas, but I think those ideas kind of end up getting muddled as the film goes along. I think that there are layers that this sequel adds that are relevant and are interesting to the original idea and that I really liked. But I think that it kind of just goes off the rails at the end and it just didn't quite work for me. But what about you?
I mean, very similar thoughts. I could see how they were trying to add more to the original story. Like, they're like, we have the baseline, let's take it to the next level, the complexity of the society, more characters, more action, for sure. And I think it was just too much, maybe a little too complicated, and just things were just kind of like busy and like maybe just like not thought out all the way. You're just like, wait, why are we over here now? What are we talking about? Like, what? It was just, yeah, they almost had something for me, but they just kind of missed the mark.
I love what you just said about being too busy. Like, there's so many ideas that they're trying to throw at you, and like all of these like interesting like clues and mysteries. Like, what is this like? This like, oh God, I'm terrible at math, but like this -1 exponent or whatever it is that he's talking about, and it being like an imaginary thing. Like, there's like these ideas, and then there's this whole thing about this dog and like eating a dog or whatever, and like that being the secret to escaping. I don't think that should be too much of a spoiler. Hopefully it's not. But there being these clues to these characters, and their escapade to get through their plight. And I just don't think any of it came together. When they started trying to like throw all these clues and all of these ideas together, it just kind of kept going. Like, it started here and then it just went.
Same. I feel the exact same way. I was like really engaged in the beginning. I was like, yes, let's see these new characters. Like, let's see what the platform was like in this earlier stage, or like just like a different point of view. But then there were too many point of views, or I don't know, like what they were trying to do.
And this is the thing. I think that this idea lends itself so well to a more intimate character study like the first one. And the second one starts off like that, but with two characters, and you really get to know the two of them, and they almost start like creating a bond together. And I won't go any further than that, but I really liked where that was going and how they slowly started to learn more about each other. And I was like, I really like this. Like, these two characters are super interesting. They're completely different. And then it like starts bringing in all of these other characters. And then the moment there's this like this high priest or whatever they were calling him, Dagon Bobby, I think they were, the moment that character kind of comes into play, things just kind of like, I feel like they were just throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck. And not a lot was sticking.
No, definitely not. Not for me. I feel like I would blink and be like, wait, now I'm confused again. What's happening?
Yeah.
I like exactly like I could see how they wanted to be like, you think it's gonna be like the first with these two central characters
Mhm.
bonding in this same platform, but then like just like hard left or what I don't even know, like what with all these other characters and the high priest and um subcultures within the or I guess rivaling. I don't know. Spoilers. I don't. I just it was too much for I think a
Yeah.
movie. I think if
Right.
they had maybe more time to create characters and like stuff, but it's just I don't know. It was just not well thought out to me or rushed. I don't even know.
I agree. I think that a platform limited series after the first one, that might have been an interesting idea to really like open up this whole world and these characters and like these factions, like the brutalists, I think they were called, or the
Or the barbarians.
barbarians,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the people who are trying to uphold the law, and like all of these different things. Like those ideas are so interesting, and I really love, I mean, the foundations of this storyline, which are talking about the foundations of society and, you know, communism versus socialism and authoritarianism and, you know, morality and mortality. Like there's so many ideas already here that are so interesting. I just wish that they were able to do something a little bit different, but not go off the rails like they did here.
Exactly. They were trying to pack in a whole lot in like kind of the second half of the movie, and you're like, whoa, rein it in. Yeah, you said it perfectly though. Like so much complexity, and like
Mhm.
I see what they were trying to do, but just maybe not in this film. It didn't work
Yeah.
out. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of like even more disappointed because it could
I
have been
know.
so good.
Yeah. Like I said, I really liked the first 30 to 40 minutes of this film. I think it really worked. But those first 30 to 40 minutes are very similar to the first film. So then
Mm-hmm.
when it tries to start doing something different and adding these like mysteries and all these things and the more brutal action and stuff, that's when it just doesn't work completely for me. And then I would say like the last 15 minutes too, like where it went, it really didn't do anything for me. And sometimes I'm like, I don't completely understand what's happening, but I'm like intrigued and curious to learn more. But
Mm-hmm.
with this, I was just like, no, like this is just not working for me at all.
I we can't say it here, but oh my god, I think we had the exact same moment at the same point of the movie where I was just like, no, no, like
Like, oh, so that's what these people were talking about, and this is what's happening now? Like,
what? Like,
mm,
so sad, and I came in with like kind of very high hopes, but
yeah.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? I mean, this is obviously everyone knows now that we don't love this film. But what are your thoughts on this being a franchise?
As in like more movies, or are we
Yeah.
talking limited? No, no, they can't do more. They as a film, I think what you
Yeah.
said, limited series, gives you more time, maybe take it a little bit away from what's inside the platform and maybe like the people behind the
Mhm.
construct of it. But like,
Yeah,
no,
that
they
would be
can't.
super interesting.
That would have been. I was kind of looking. I thought it would go that direction. It did not.
Mm.
I mean, spoilers. But please, I don't. This movie has definitely put me off of any franchise.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, I think of the Saw movies, and there's been some really great Saw movies and some really bad Saw movies, but those movies and the original specifically really touched upon like the idea of morality and mortality like this one does, and it's something that really obviously resonated with a lot of people, and that's what the first one did for me, uh, with the platform. And then This one, I feel like it kind of proved that maybe that idea was perfect just as a single film.
Yes. Yes. I thought it was perfect. And so when I
Yeah.
found out there was a sequel, I was like, oh, okay. I thought the ending was perfect in the first one. Like it
Mhm.
was just completely well made. And I was like, how do you top that?
Yeah.
And you
And
don't.
obviously you don't.
You
You,
don't.
you prove that you don't do it. And like this one kind of proved like we're trying to say more things, but none of it's really coming together.
No, yeah, just leave a good thing good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was thinking that you might like it when we first started this review. I was like, I think that like there's definitely people who out there who are going to like this movie, and uh I don't know, just because there is a lot of the same great things in this movie that the first one had, and then it goes like to more extremes. But when you really look into the nitty gritty of the storytelling here, there's a lot here that doesn't work and doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. I almost like as like a love for the first one and the creativity of it and like the storytelling of it. I want to forgive the storytelling for the sequel, but like I can't. They didn't do a good job, and that makes me real pissed off. Like they were so
Yeah.
close. They could have done more and respected the first film too. If they just didn't try to what's the saying? Like dump the kitchen sink into a movie. Like I don't even know. Like they were just putting
Everything in the kitchen sink.
yeah, that's that. Like
They were trying to one up themselves on the first one. I feel like they were really like, okay, we don't want this to be more of the same, so we're going to try everything, and some things are
everything.
going to work and some things aren't, but like at least we're doing something crazy different, but it just didn't work.
It just didn't work. Maybe a limited series. I can't see this being a franchise at all unless they branch out from the platform. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
you can't it's not Snowpiercer, you just can't do this in this
Yeah.
kind of scenario. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, Morgan, what would you rate the platform to?
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of
Okay.
5. Hey, it just fell short in very many ways. I am so disappointed because I was so excited and the first one was so high up on my list, and to this day, like not even just 2020, it's a wonderful film, thoroughly thought through, moving, powerful, and this one was just a little convoluted and just like everything was everywhere, and I just don't know if it was thought through, and it just showed, in my opinion. Yes, it almost had something. It almost had me, but no, it just lost me. So close.
So I'm going to give it a 2.5, and that is because it almost had something. I do think that the first like 30 or so minutes of this movie, I was really liking it, and I was intrigued by the two lead characters. I think the two lead actors were quite good, and the cinematography is still super interesting, and they're doing a lot of really great things in the beginning, and they're reintroducing these ideas that I already love and I think are super interesting. But I do feel like this film just goes completely off the rails, especially in the second act and in like the last 15 minutes too, which just really ruined it for me, kind of. But yeah, it's the platform 2 is a huge disappointment.
Huge disappointment. I think it's just oh man. And I love how like we like the first word, and I kind of was like, yeah, you had me because it was like the original.
Exactly.
but yeah, pretty similar viewpoints, Shawn.
I know. I was literally expecting you to like this movie and us to have completely different opinions. But once again, here we are, and we're right on the same page again.
I know. This is why we do what we do when we're friends.
And it's funny because we literally, just to let y'all know, we do not like talk about the film at all before we start filming. We literally watch the movie and then we press record and then we start talking. So the fact that like our ideas kind of coincide are just, it's very interesting.
It's so interesting. And it's so funny you thought that would be, I thought you were going to really like it. And then I was like, am I just so wrong? But no, just like, same wavelength.
Yeah. And I wasn't grumpy when I watched it. I was in a great mood and very excited for it.
I wasn't grumpy. I was just a little tired. Thank you so much for watching Lost in the Reel.
What are your guys' thoughts on the Platform 2? Did you love the first one like us and not really like the second one? Or did you think the second one was even better than the first? Sound off in the comment section down below.
Thank you so much. Until next time, friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye.